Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mindset Driven, the podcast that dives deep into the mindset of the movers and shakers of our world. Our guest today, Luke Matthews, exemplifies the spirit of personal growth and adaptability. A proud Marine and now making his mark in the modeling industry, Luke's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance. Known for his humility and commitment to learning, Luke has never been one to dominate the spotlight. Instead, he prefers to remain open and receptive, always ready to absorb wisdom and lessons from his surroundings. His story takes us through his evolution from a shy, quiet individual to someone who is not just self assured, but also inspires confidence in others. Luke is a keen observer and a seeker of knowledge, gathering nuggets of wisdom from his various life experiences and applying them to his journey. His philosophy revolves around resilience and a steady focus on personal growth and the importance of turning life lessons into the stepping stones for success. As we engage in conversation with Luke, we'll explore the power of endurance, the importance of moving forward, and the beauty of discovering one's true potential. Get ready for an episode filled with heartfelt reflections, valuable life lessons, and the inspiring story of a man who's embraced life's challenges to become the person he is today. Let's dive into this enriching conversation with Luke Matthews. Welcome to Mindset Driven. Today we have a special guest, a Marine, one that I served with here in Hawaii and in Afghanistan. Luke Matthews. He's a fitness influencer. He's a model. He's working on some side businesses. And today we're going to dive deep into the mindset of who he is and how he got to where he is now. What's up, man? How are you doing?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Doing good.
Yes. It definitely has been a long time, man. For those that don't know, we both served 2003 to 2007. I think you got out 2007.
Yeah, 2007. I probably saw you last December 06 before I went on terminal leave, and it's been ever since then. It's been a long time.
Yeah, man, it definitely has been a long time. I do miss the good times. I definitely do. So basically what I like to do is I like to ask, a couple of main questions in the beginning. The first one is just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe early life up until now and just what's going on with you.
Early life, man. Well, I'm originally from Idaho. I was born in Boise, lived there till I was 8. My family moved up to northern Idaho. I don't know if you know where Moscow is. Graduated high school there, 02, the same year as you. Joined the Marine. I wasn't sure if I was going to play college baseball or go into the military. And despite 9/11, I always wanted to go into the military. My dad was in Vietnam. My brother went to the Naval Academy. So I always knew I was going to be in the military at some point. I never got that full ride baseball scholarship, and money kind of always freaked me out. And then it looked like we were going into a war at that time. So I was like, I don't want to miss the war. I didn't get a full ride scholarship, so I'm going in the Marines. So that was kind of the decision, and served with you, from 03 to 07. Got out, and that was a tough decision to get out because they were offering some pretty big time. Well, I'm sure you got the bonus, but I think it was $76,000 bonus to re-enlist. And I'm like, man, I'm 23. If I ever want to play college baseball, I got to do it now. So I played junior college in Monterey, California, where my dad grew up, and he played there too. So I played 2 years there, had a really good freshman year, had a really bad injury my sophomore year, so wasn't sure if I was going to keep playing. Took a semester off. Anyway, ended up going to a little school in Boston and finished up my eligibility there, and played a year of pro in Germany. This was 2012. Just 1 year there. My body was kind of falling apart, different shoulder injuries. So came back, finished up my degree at Boise State, and got into wildland firefighting from there. And then, do you want me to keep going or?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I didn't know any of this. This is
Okay,
all
yeah.
good news to me.
So I'm like, am I talking to? This is a long story. I mean, it's been what
No, no,
20
it's
years.
perfect.
So
Yeah.
um, so my after baseball, I mean, after the Marines, it was actually a pretty easy transition because I went from the Marines right into having a baseball team, like built-in friends, like a mission. I had a goal, big time, like school, all that. And once baseball ended, um, I had a really rough transition. It was almost like the Marine transition came up at the same time, and so 2012, I did wildland firefighting for that summer, graduated in 2013, did firefighting again. And then I went into a deep depression. It was, I had no direction anymore. Even though I got my degree, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I even thought about going back in as maybe an officer or something. This is at 30 years old. But I needed to get shoulder surgery on my right shoulder from baseball that I played with for 3 years. And it just didn't seem like the right time. Um, I guess at that time, I kind of started after surgery and I kind of rehabbed and everything is when I got into fitness competitions, men's physique bodybuilding, and that gave me a new goal and focus. And it was still like, you know, athletics kind of. So I was able to focus on that. And that actually was the biggest thing that got me out of a depression or that transition of not having a goal or the Marines or baseball. So um, I moved to Las Vegas just for something new. And that's kind of, where the Olympia is held. So I felt like it was a good bodybuilding
Hmm.
community. Lived there for a year and a half and did a few competitions, did well. But I was working out the wind doing valet, which was good money and fine, but it was just kind of like no purpose really either. It was like a job to pay the bills, and it's like you're building someone else's dream. You're just a pawn in someone else's dream, and I didn't like that. I felt like I wasn't serving others as at a deeper level. You know what I mean? Like it was just kind of getting their car. I felt like I had more to offer, like the Marines and everything else, something more bigger than yourself. You know what I mean? So around that time, I think this was 2015, 16, I kind of hit another depression and I could feel anxiety and stress and PTSD and all kinds of things that were built up kind of all came out at that time too. Um, I ended up, I was jogging and I broke my foot because I was jumping off of a curb and I broke my foot, went into the VA. They took the x-rays and everything. Anyway, I was talking to the counselor and everything there, and they were like, you need to actually talk to a therapist and work out some things that has been built up. And I guess rewind a little bit before that, I was making a transition of work and everything, and I was homeless for about 4 months, living out of my car, and then all that other stuff hit. Um, so yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, but that's kind of how it happened. Yeah.
No, 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 not at all, man. Man, I'm number one. I'm really sorry that I didn't know about this, and it hits home because you're my friend, and I feel a little guilty hearing this. I too struggled with PTSD. Actually, around the same time is when it all came out for me, 2016.
Yeah.
Like I just started hearing things and having flashbacks. Like it sucked. Um, but yeah, man, I am like I do feel a little guilty not knowing about some of this stuff because I would have helped you 100%.
Well,
And that's one of the things that this is important to do, right? Is
yeah.
sharing it with others because I think a lot of people don't realize that the strength that it takes to ask for help is very hard to have, one, but two, it could probably be the one thing that could save your life depending on the
Oh, yeah.
situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that you you as a person in general, like I only think of happy times when I think about you. That's like I told you, when we were talking right before this, I think about every time I walk into that gym on the base, I think about us playing basketball, and how we would go back and forth, win, loss, win, loss. And I don't remember who had the better, record. I do remember us just going back and forth. All right, let's play another one. All right, let's play another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
those are the good times. And I remember you always eating candy, like constantly eating candy every day. It was like, this guy just lives on candy. How does he do that?
How is Cat so big on candy?
You loved your candy, man.
I did, yeah.
But, thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about now. So what are you doing now with this fitness influencer and modeling? How did that come to be?
So back to where I stopped my story, when I moved back to Boise after Vegas, my foot healed, got some help from the VA, and that definitely helped. And then I'm like, I'm just going to dive in to keep going with bodybuilding competitions because that kind of helped me get out of the depression the first time. So went at it full blast, and I think it was towards the end of 2016 when, or maybe it was 17, a photographer came up to me after one of my competitions and he asked if he could shoot me just in a studio, fitness. And first of all, I love being on stage, like whether it's basketball or baseball, or bodybuilding on stage. Like I just like that, like performance type thing. So it was almost the same transition into a studio with a camera. And so I felt very comfortable around the camera and everything and taking direction from the photographers. And so that photo shoot turned into another one. And it started with fitness and coincided with my fitness competitions. And then once I started putting those pictures online, or other photographers would see them on other pages, they would reach out to me. And it might be, can I have you on my brochure for my headshot portfolio? And it was more like for like business people. And so then I did that. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And especially with social media blowing up and becoming even more visual with Instagram, and that just kind of took off from like 2017 till now, and just kind of built my portfolio working with so many different photographers. And, just the networking snowball that created gave me so many different opportunities. And then you're talking about brands coming in and being like, oh, we want you to do our, social media branding or commercial or whatever. And then another brand sees that and then they ask you. And so I almost kind of fell into it, you know what I mean? But I did have it took, it's a little scary because you don't know what you're really going into. It took a breakup in 2019 for me to start saying yes to everything. Some things that I normally wouldn't say yes to, like I did like a Halloween collaboration shoot, which I don't really like doing that, but it helped me meet other photographers. And then I worked with them on something else later. And so, that's just kind of how it happened with the modeling. And then, got signed by a few agencies, and I never would have thought I'd be getting paid to come out to like Miami to do a editorial that is for London, you know what I mean? Or something like that. I would have never chose to do something like that, but you kind of have to ride the wave and go where you don't want to be oaring upstream. If it's taking you a certain way and you're enjoying it and it's working for you, go with it. And that's kind of what I've done. And I love doing it. And my goal is to kind of keep growing and doing bigger brands. Or I always say my ultimate goal is like a Coors Light commercial for a Super Bowl or something like that. But
I see it, brother. You never know. Definitely.
But so that's kind of how it all started and where it's going. And I guess the next step also is I just built out my garage gym studio so I can film, because I also love inspiring people to. I mean, I'm 30. You're 39 too, right? So I turned 40 in
Yes.
October, but I
Yes.
still feel like, people give up at a certain age, and 40's probably a big one. So in my 40's, I really want to inspire people to get after it every day in the gym, and I'm going to be filming free content for people to, so it's nice and easy to follow. It looks good with the lighting. And as far as a business with that, I'm not sure what I can do with that yet. I'd like to maybe have an app or something that's 99 cents a month, but if I can get enough people, so I'm enjoying exploring that, and seeing where that takes me, and also hearing, helping other people in that way. So that, again, that going back to that purpose, and that doing something bigger than yourself is keeps you going.
So again, something we kind of similarly talked about prior to starting this, right? Like serving others, and that's that's why I joined the Marine Corps. Is to because I wanted to help others, specifically not go through what what had previously happened with 9/11. I was like, I'm not going to let that happen again. Whatever I got to do to be a part of the solution, that's what I'm going to do. What I really like about what you're saying is the power of saying yes. You had gotten to a point where it almost seemed like you were going through these transitions and you didn't really understand what was going on. You also battled with depression just like I have, and I still do, from here to time to time.
Mm.
I don't think that there's ever going to be a time where I can fully let all of what happened to me go, but I think I'll get there one day. But regardless, the power of saying yes for you has just been such a tremendous gift. And you said 2019 is where you had this kind of epiphany and things changed. And I think that that's where you start to see the true growth, because prior to probably 2019, I didn't see you much on social media. And it, I always wondered how he was doing. Like, what's Luke up to? Like
Mm.
what do I do? That's all I thought about, right? That was our little saying we had back in the day. Yeah, that's an inside joke for y'all. You won't get that. But it is a it is a crazy time, nowadays, especially with the pandemic and how everything, shaped from the future. Now we don't know what's going to happen next. But I will say that, I believe what you just said, where you think that, you can possibly end up on a Super Bowl commercial, or, I don't know, maybe you'll end up as like the Instagram spokesmodel just because, how you look, hey, you are a Marine, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We do make good things look good. I'm just throwing that out there, like for all those that don't realize it, Marines make things look good. Just as what it is. Um,
Yeah. I mean, even just
so,
cleaning, the way we cleaned in the Marines of Barracks were spotless. I mean, it's all about presentation, whether it's yourself, what you represent, your living space. Like, they groomed us to keep our image and, how we conduct ourselves clean and make it look better, like you said.
right. And it's funny you said you made a gym in your garage now. I just got done like this morning before our meeting, as I was moving like stuff in my garage. I'm like, I don't like the way this is. I'm gonna move this here because I want to be able to lift this here, and I just started moving stuff around just because I wanted it to be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
So it's cool that you're gonna do that, and I can't wait to see what you have to offer. And I'll be a test dummy. Like, send
Oh,
me
yeah.
some stuff, and I'll try it out.
I'm actually
All
before
right,
I got on here, I did some video of, because I actually just put in the last bit of custom lighting in my garage. So I was going to do a little reel or story for my Instagram for you, everyone to see. But so you'll check that out.
nice. For sure. All right. So, even though we're like, however many minutes in, one of the main question I like to always ask is, and I have a list here on the side. So if I'm looking to the left or right, that's where I'm doing. It's basically, what is your definition of a successful mindset, or what are the most important qualities of a successful mindset in your opinion?
I'll go with qualities first. I think mindset. So I think, we're always going to hit trials and tribulations. And so I feel like resilience is one of my keywords. Resilience, because you're always going to hit bad times, depressing times. You're not going to feel motivated, or you're going to have a breakup, or a family member is going to die, or something, or an idea gets shot down, and just keep at it. And it is important to see the long term. And sometimes we don't know what the long term is. So that's another thing. I think you're a perfectionist like I am, and that's kept me from not doing things. But if you just start and just start walking, just keep going, even though you hit those punches are going to come. You got to be willing to take the hits, and so just keep going. I think is a powerful, successful mindset. I know I have two other words that I kind of live by. Definitely discipline. If you don't have a disciplined mindset, because again, there's going to be days where you feel like not going to the gym, or whatever you do. Even I love going to the gym, and sometimes I'm just dragging, and I'm like, I'm not feeling it. But you're like, I'm not doing it because I want to. I'm doing it because it's going to make me better. And it's that mindset that whether it's a gym or business or relationships, that's gonna create success over time. And again, it's not instant, it's over time. It's a consistency of those behaviors and thoughts which will make you successful. So and also I want to say gratitude, because there's just so many hard times in life, and we can dwell on those things. And when we think about just those good things, like your family, or sometimes they're simple things, but keep your eyes on the things that you're grateful for, and that can change everything. Because we always compare with other people, especially the way social media is now, and see what they have and what they're doing. And if you can just sit back and be grateful for what you have, because it can always be worse. That mindset is so important. So I'll go with
That's
those
great.
three: dedication, being grateful.
That's great, man. Grateful is very, very, that word is very important to me. I really like that you said that. A lot of people don't really look at things, that, like you said, there's a lot of comparing now with social media. There's a lot of, like, oh, why don't I have this and they have that? And, it's not really about that, I don't know if you've heard of Sadhguru or Deepak Chopra. Those are people that I kind of like listen to and talk, like consume their media, their content. But I actually have this. I wrote it down yesterday because I was listening to a book. Says like, smile every day for at least 20 seconds when you wake up, and let that be the first thing that you do.
Mm.
Because if you can start your day with a smile and be grateful, right? The word you're talking about, grateful, it can change the direction of your entire day.
Totally.
And I just started doing that because obviously I just read about it, but it really does make a difference. Just waking up, smiling, and being grateful. Think about all the things you're grateful for, because there's this time where like I got into a pattern of life where I didn't want to, like, not necessarily not wake up, but I wanted to sleep in. I didn't want. It's like snooze button, right? Always just because, and it gets to a point now where I'm trying to be more excited about my day, because one, if I'm in this positive mindset and gratitude mindset, then I can expect great things to happen. I won't know what's going to happen, but I can expect those great things to happen. And when you expect great things to happen, you'll be excited to wake up, because you know that tomorrow, the next day, it's going to be fun. Something cool is going to happen. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to be a part of that, whatever the case may be. Maybe if you have kids like I do, maybe you get to see your kids first walk or first talk or whatever the case may be. And I'm happy you said that, because it's so important. People just don't realize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did. There is something you said during that part of the talk right now, which I wanted to ask you. How do you stay motivated and focused on your goals when you're having those down times?
I think, well, first of all, I know again, maybe I'm not sure of the exact direction I'm going. I do know that if I don't do, if I'm not grateful, if I'm not resilient, if I'm not disciplined, I know that there's no chance. Like, you're going to fall way behind. And so I want to stay ready and prepared, and to where when I do get that opportunity, I'll be right there. I'll be ready to strike. And so and again, it's a discipline thing, I guess. And we learned that really well. My high school basketball coach was really good. My dad was very good at instilling it in me, but also my high school basketball coach. And I remember we had like these D slides, defensive drill, like we had to go back and forth across the key as fast as we could, and those were just killer. Like, we all dreaded them, but I remember towards the end of the season, I looked forward to it because I knew it was getting me ready more mentally than anything else. Like, I don't know when I'm going to it's getting us in great shape, and I hate doing it, but I know by doing this, it's going to make me better for when I need it. And so it's kind of that mentality that, it's kind of like in relationships too. Learn what you can from that relationship or this girl or whatever, because you want to be prepared for when the right one comes, and you'll have already learned what to say or what not to say. And so it's just about being prepared. And I think about that all the time. It's like getting ready for a bodybuilding competition. Like, you have to do all the work. All the work's done on stage day, on show day. You're like, the work's done. I'm here. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. It actually brings up another quote that I heard in a book yesterday. Like I was telling you, I listen to books, I read books, but I listen to books on my walks, my hikes in the morning. And this is the quote. I wrote it here. I have it down. It says, I use memories, but I will not allow memories to use me.
Yeah, that's good.
And so essentially, you are taking in these life lessons, right? And using them to propel you forward. I didn't have my mom or dad in my life after my dad from one, he was only there on the days that counted. Let's put it that way. And I'm grateful for that. You want to know why? Because it taught me how to be a better dad.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be like, I hate my dad. I look, I don't ever want to talk about him. Like, no, I don't hate him. I forgave him, but that doesn't mean, and this is where I'm heading with it. Forgiving is one thing, right? But forgetting is another. Mm-hmm. I forgave my dad, but I learned a lesson. So,
right.
I hate this saying, and I will say I hate it because I don't hate many things, but I hate forgive and forget. Right. I hate that saying.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in forgetting anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So that's the whole reason why I always talk about it, right? It's for me, it's forgive and learn, right? Forgive and learn. I never read that anywhere, honestly. To be honest with you, I'll tell you how I learned it. My dad told me that in a conversation, maybe when I was 24, 25. He's on on the phone telling me, I need to forgive and forget. And it instantly was the words that came straight out of me. It's like, I'll never forget what you did. I'll forgive you, but it's always going to be a lesson that I've learned from you.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned it. And it's been tough times with that. You know what I mean? Like, I think people can hold on to grudges a lot longer than they need to. I'm a prime example of it because I did it for so long with my father. But yeah, man, like if you can just kind of change the dynamic of how you're thinking, where it becomes forgiving and learning, and then using you use your memories, not your memories using you, then you see progress. And the reason I'm saying those things is because that's what you're reminding me of it by what you're saying now. And so it's beautiful to hear that because you're doing so well now, man. Like it's that's why I wanted you on here. I mean, I kind of was like it's a selfish way to talk to you too, because I haven't talked with you in so long.
Yeah.
So I get to do dual bonus, for those that are watching. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I really appreciate what you said there. It means so much to me how you said that. Let me ask you this. How do you keep your work life, in your work life and your I wouldn't say home life, but just your personal life in balance?
Um, ooh, I feel like since I'm so much of what I do is based off of like Instagram or social media, it is very interchangeable, and that's why you know um, people have told me to get two separate pages, like a private, like this is more like showing family and my nieces and my nephew and doing different things like that, and then showing more of the modeling and fitness stuff at a whole other page. But and there is some maybe good idea in that, but I like to integrate it to show who I really am, and I think that helps, like some of that personal stuff. So it's I try and just keep a balance of, as long as I feel balanced and I'm not going. And with my work, I guess I don't really go off too far in one direction. I just try, as long as I'm feeling at peace inside, like I kind of just have that little, um, scale internally where I know if I'm going too far off, maybe just too focused on social media or something, and it's taking away from my peace, I'll like go out on a hike. And I try and hike 3 days a week too in the summer here or fall. And just spending that personal, just alone time really to kind of recenter, gain perspective. That's another one, just perspective. Like, I can compare myself to other people, but I have to be like, what? I have things in my life that I bet they wish they had. So like, you don't think about that and going back to being grateful and everything. But that alone time for me helps recenter me and keep a good balance, I feel like, between the two, and doing things that you love. It's the same thing. I had a breakup 2.5 months ago, and I was like, I just have to really focus on what makes me and what I enjoy. And so, again, paddleboarding, hiking, working out, of course, but focusing on those things to kind of recenter. That's the best advice I'd tell anyone.
No, that's great, man. And I think you hit it home with doing things that you enjoy, things that make you happy. Those are where you can start, right? Because a lot of times, even when you are at home, right? Being a dad, I can say this, right? Like, I'll be working. This is before when I had where I worked at. Come home and I'd be dead tired. And, I just kind of want to relax, but then my kids are young and they want to hang out and play. So I got to like turn it back on again. Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not going to always be per se, I get to go play basketball or I get to go paddleboarding or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it has to be, for me as like a dad, like, okay, how do I find enjoyment, gratitude, and spending time with my kids, even when I'm dead tired?
Right.
Well, that's an obvious one, right? For parents out there, that's an obvious one. the joy is just seeing your kids smile
Yeah.
and having a good time and hearing them laugh, right? Because that's important. And I think that, and I'm strict, I'm very disciplined with my kids. It's everything is yes, dad, but that's, I'll tell you one thing with my son, and he's 21 now. He went out and just attacked life. At 19, he was an Army reservist firefighter. 20, he was a federal firefighter, so he had both, right? Federal and Army reservist firefighter. And now he's 21, and I think at 19 he bought his own truck with all of his own money. It was like $30K, all his own money, not a single dime from any of us. He just did it, and those are the types of things that you become proud of, right? But then you think back, like, how the hell did he do all that? Like, where was I at, like, at that age? You know what I mean? Like, what was I thinking about at that age? And then you start thinking about, oh, shoot, like, maybe, and I'm not going to take all the credit, but maybe maybe it's what, mom and I instilled into him, right? The discipline.
Oh yeah.
And, my wife is more like the joy in life. He's a happy kid, go lucky kid. But when he's focused, right? Like, he knows when to get shit done. And that's how he graduated from, Army boot camp, and he went to, federal firefighter school for 6 months, I think it was, or 8 months. So those types of things are where, you look at life and you go, okay, let me choose the right enjoyment and where it needs to be, where my energy needs to be put. And I think you hit it perfectly, centering yourself, right? And that is what is very important. So that's awesome, man. I'm really happy you figured that out, because I still think people at our age haven't figured that out yet. Honest to God, I still think that.
Well, that's why they're getting just so burnt out. And it's also just kind of like an American mindset, like work so hard and you get 2 weeks off. Like, no wonder people are so burnt out and people are stressed and suicide rates are up and divorces are up and all that. Like, we're just getting like burned out, and people aren't learning how to center themselves and, focus on what makes them happy and get that balance again. And it's a skill that you have to learn over time and practice.
100%. So let's talk about like your work now. So you said you're doing modeling, and basically, you're going to transition or do both, as what the title suggests, right? Fitness influencer / model. What are some long-term goals that you have with your modeling career, besides, Super Bowl stuff? But is there like, do you want to help others? Do you want, like, in the modeling world, do you, and on the fitness side, obviously, you want to be able to create an app and do those things. But I see more for you, and I feel like there is more that you have for yourself too.
Yeah, it's well, and this is something that I wish I was better at, because I'll give you an example. I always felt like I take direction very well and very coachable. And so when I've tried to flip that, and I tried to coach for a semester at my junior college, hated it. I've tried to coach other fitness competitors, like at that level, didn't really like it. And so, and I agree. Like, I wanted to, I feel like I should always be like giving back, helping other people. But, you also have to be centered and do what brings the most out of you. And I felt like I was swimming upstream with that. I was fighting what I wasn't naturally good at, which is like, I never really felt like a teacher. I was more of the student or the player instead of the coach. And so I'm like, well, how can I, for example, like, I know my body so well. I'm so into and excited about shaping it and, bringing out the shoulders here. And I can kind of help other people do that, but it's not the same. And so I feel like,
Right.
well, maybe I can help other people, but in a different way. And I'm like, maybe I can inspire them. And that's why I post my workouts almost every day just on my stories, just to like motivate people like, oh, he's doing it every day. I got to do it every day. And so kind of a roundabout way of helping other people just through inspiration, and they'll still get some instruction here and there. And with my gym, it's going to be a lot higher quality content because I have a controlled environment with, I'm going to have a much nicer camera, the lighting. So it's going to be even more inspiring just from the environment. Um, and as far as modeling goes, again, I don't know how I can turn it into like a business where I can make money and help people yet. Again, I can inspire and answer questions. I get DMs all the time from aspiring models or whatever, and I give them, advice. I share advice, like kind of my same story of how I got into it and saying yes to things and networking. And so I do enjoy helping people that way, but I'm not sure the ultimate goal of that. Again, I don't know. And so all I can do is just keep moving forward and adapt and overcome with what comes to me with different opportunities. And hopefully I'll find like, a way to, turn it into a business and help people in that way. I'm still working on all that. I'm still,
That's cool.
learning and adapting. And I wish I had a perfect vision of where I want to take it. But again, I think if we get too tunnel vision, and sometimes tunnel vision is good, sometimes it's not, because you have to be adaptable and move in whichever way opens.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with all that. So
no, I think that's perfectly fine, man. We don't always have to have the answers, and I think that's important to recognize too. A lot of times, especially parents, they want their kids to know what they're gonna do. Like,
yeah,
what's your goal? What are you gonna go to school for? What are you gonna be? What are you gonna do when you get out? Blah 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 blah. And it's like, whoa 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 whoa. Like, let's stop it. Let's take it easy for one, okay? Like, let's ask what they want to do, not, well, you should be a doctor, you should be a nurse, you should be a lawyer, you should be whatever the top four of those are, engineer or whatever. It's like just support them in what they want to do, and that's it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Question though, because my son, and I'm not biased at all, but he's really good looking. Like, really good looking. I'm not trying to like blow smoke up no one's ass. Like, this kid's really good looking. We're talking like Jason Momoa when he was on Baywatch.
Does he
Back
have
then,
the hair?
if you're familiar with how he looked. Huh?
Does he have the long hair?
What'd you say?
Oh,
No.
you mean
Jason
Rock?
Momoa didn't have the long hair. No. So Jason Momoa, but like when he was on Baywatch, had short hair, kind of like
Oh, I didn't know
you
that.
do. That's how he was. Yeah. So then, anyways, long story short, my son is really good looking. I'll send you some pictures after.
Yeah.
And definitely want to get your advice on that. He's done some small modeling things, but he hasn't really found an agency or anything to promote him. And I feel
Yeah.
like you might actually have some of those answers, since now that we're talking about it. Because I didn't think about asking you until you said what you said, which I should have, because that's what you're doing. But I don't know. I just, it all comes to about right now. Let me ask you, you mentioned a few people, prior, but who are some of the people that like you looked up to or mentored you, or any of that type of, leadership that's been in your life, to help you get where you're at?
Yeah. I definitely say like my dad, just in general, discipline and loving father. I was so lucky to have a mom and dad that were so just loving, two loving parents that cared. My dad was actually a pastor, and so he could, he'd speak on Sundays, and he'd have all week to go to all my basketball and baseball games. So like, no other dad had that. My dad was the one dad that was at all the away games, and so he was definitely a big influence in my life. My high school basketball coach, strict discipline. I mean, I'm lucky to have had that kind of discipline and structure before the Marine Corps. Obviously, different seniors in the Marines. I don't know if you remember Staff Sergeant Ramirez, but he was
Yeah.
he was almost like a father figure type of leader. And some people respond to yelling, and others respond to encouragement. And I responded to encouragement.
Sure.
A good leader knows which people need what, and so he was really good at that. Let's see. My college baseball coach, when I got to Boston, same type of a thing. Just a strong yet compassionate man. And so I love the calm confidence where you feel just like, wow, they're pulling for me. They're not trying to like yell at me just to yell at me. They understand, oh, he needs encouragement to get the best out of him. Or Coach Cut is his name. So yeah, I think you have certain men in your life that over time that you just kind of pick certain parts of how their leadership and how they run their life, and then you construct yours and put the pieces together. And I don't know, it feels good to
Oh
know.
yeah, no,
Yeah, it's good.
yeah,
As far
and
as
I have
modeling goes,
similar.
I was going to say,
I'm sorry, what
as
was
far as
that?
modeling goes, I haven't had really any, because of what I learned from those other guys. I've been able to kind of go off on something I on my own, and it's kind of like just
Mm,
growing up and then being like, okay, you're on your own, son, and use what I taught you, type of a thing. And you can really
right,
feel that now, right? As we're
right.
getting
No,
to
I
40.
definitely get it. Yeah, I mean, and similar in the Marine Corps, and I had three people that I will never forget. You know what I mean? Never can, never will. Gunnery Sergeant Randall, First Sergeant Frisbee, which he became. Both of them got promoted. So Sergeant Major, and then First Sergeant Randall, and then I don't know if you remember Staff Sergeant De La Pena.
I
He
remember
was
the
our
name.
career planner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was our career planner, and all three of them, they will always be like dads to me, no matter what. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's the most interesting thing I when I see all of them is, and it has nothing to do with race. It's more about their backgrounds. Okay,
Mm.
one's a white guy, one's a black guy, and one's a Mexican guy, right? And it had nothing to do with race. It was about their backgrounds and where they came from. But they all taught me in their own ways how to be a better Marine and a better man.
Mm.
And I will always be thankful for that. I
Yeah.
will always be thankful.
Yeah.
When First Sergeant Frisbee, when he got promoted to Sergeant Major, I was right there holding the little, what is it, promotion certificate, standing there while, here you go. You remember that.
Yeah.
And you would never believe what he told me after, because I hurt my shoulder right in the beginning of the Marine Corps. They put me in HNS office while I was rehabbing my shoulder, and it gets promoted to Sergeant Major. We're walking back to the office, and he stops me. And man, I'll never forget what he said. He's like, "Listen, I wasn't training you to be, Joe Schmo in the office. I was training you to be a first sergeant." That's what he
Mm.
said. Like, a first sergeant's training. Like, I was a Lance Corporal at the time. He's like, I was training you to be a first sergeant. And he handed me his chevrons, his first sergeant chevrons.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know, like, nobody knows that but me, because I didn't tell anybody about that in the Marine Corps. I didn't tell a single soul. Nobody.
Do you still have
But
those?
when that happened, I do have them. Yeah, they're right here in my yeah, I do.
Wow.
When that happened, I don't know. It changed everything for me. It taught me what a great leader was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I started to like reminisce on all the things that he told me what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to do it, when I needed to do this. And then same thing with, Gunnery Sergeant Randall, same thing. Like I just started reminiscing on all the little things that they would like always harp on and say about. And I'd be like, okay. But yeah, I was reminiscing on all of those things that I had been taught by them. And there's so much blessing. And again, it taught me what a great leader was supposed to be, right? You have no idea the impact that these people have on you until it's too late. And that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you, but I wasn't aware of all the things they were doing when they were doing it. I don't know about you, but I didn't realize all of the different things that I was like getting taught until after the fact, right? And it was like, oh man, like I wasted all of this time and I wasn't even grateful for it during the moment. It was when it was gone that I was the most grateful for it.
Yeah. And it's like all we can do is live out what they instilled in us to kind of honor them in a way. And, it just goes generation to generation, and hopefully you pick up on the lessons that they taught us and help others, with that same kind of thing. So, and it takes a while to learn that. It takes a while to, like you said, to understand what they were even teaching us, but then have that kind of that cream rise to the top and be like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Now, how can you have to learn how to project that to others as well. Because sometimes you don't know how to do that. And I mean, like you knew me when I was young and how timid and shy and quiet I was. And when I see other Marine buddies now, they're like, oh, I can't believe how much you're talking or how, confident you are now. And it's like, that takes a while to build up and also how to project it to other people and yourself. And that's why like now being 39, I wake up and I'm pulling out of the driveway and I'm like, I'm kind of excited to be me today. I'm excited to, I know I have the ability to figure things out and, and make it better or whatever. We have just this ability from what others taught us and learning to, figure out problems and that's exciting. Don't trust the branch that you've landed on. Trust your wings to be able to fly off if it breaks, kind of a mentality. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that. That's awesome. So last few questions I have for you. Is there any books or podcasts or any other resources that you feel like have influenced your life that others can, learn from?
I'm loving the Mindset Driven podcast. It's my
That was the answer I was looking for.
Yeah. You know what? Like, and I hate to say this, I'm not a reader. I never have been. I think it's a mild dyslexia. It burns me out to read. But so same kind of thing. Podcasts. I'm kind of hit and miss on podcasts. I don't listen to any one person. I just try and suck up random information from like, Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life type of things. I can't think of any other person right off the bat, but Jocko Willink. I listen to his podcast when I can. But what was the original question? What podcast?
books, podcasts, or any other resources that have really helped you, with your mindset and leading up to this?
Yeah, I think it's leaning on what I've learned from the past and then picking up little nuggets here and there from, yeah, I don't listen to one specific podcast, but random ones and kind of putting those together and forming yourself through the different avenues of information that you're getting. And a lot of things throw away, aren't meant for you, but
Right.
have that
Right.
ability to kind of filter through okay, I can use this. This makes sense to my life. And yeah, that's the most I can give you with
No,
that.
that's cool. That's cool, man. Do you like David Goggins or anything like that?
I'm not big on David Goggins just because I think he's so extreme that,
Right.
yeah, he's too extreme for me. And I think that really anyone, it's almost unrealistic. I think he can help people that use that type of like in your face motivation. I think that's
Right.
needed every once in a while,
Okay.
but I'm more of that Jocko Willink, calm confidence type. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna get this.
I feel it. I totally get it.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, so my last question is what advice do you have for anyone who wants to be successful in, maybe your career or any career in life?
I think, and it's so easy to say, but just don't give up. It's just put your head down, one foot in front of the other, and again, you're gonna get resistance, and that's why a lot of people don't do what they want to do because it gets too hard. They think it's getting too hard, but really, if you just keep working at it, if you just willing to take the hits, you're gonna get hit. And as long as you're willing to take those and keep moving forward, it sounds like a Rocky movie, right? But still, like, it's so true. It's so true. And, I've heard no so many times, and I've heard, whatever. But if you just keep moving forward, and again, you might not know exactly what that is, what you're going towards, but you have some kind of direction of what brings you passion and happiness and fulfillment. And so like just move in that direction and keep going, and you're going to end up somewhere where you want to be, and you're going to learn a lot along the way. So that's my best advice to people.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Keep moving forward. You never know what tomorrow brings.
Right. You never know what opportunity is right
awesome.
around the corner, like right around the corner. Because it's happened to me, especially in modeling, because it's sometimes I don't know when my next gig is going to be, and it'll pop up like the next day. And I've been super blessed to just have these opportunities, and it will be like oh, this fell through. We need you for this commercial, and it's $1,400, and it's the day before, and I'm like, oh, I'm available, and you just never know. And you never know what other people are thinking either. And so you just focus on what you can control and adapt from there while moving forward, and be willing to take the hits that come.
I love it, man. I love it. So where can people find you at on social media?
So I'm mostly off of just Instagram, Luke Matthews 21, and I should be the first one that pops up. DM me. I'm way more on Instagram than Facebook or checking email or anything, and it might be in my hidden messages, but I'll get to it originally. I'd love to answer any questions anyone has, or if they just need some motivation or inspiration or just a little direction, or how the same thing about your son, any modeling questions about how they can get into it, or or whatever, Instagram's the best way to get a hold of me. Again, Luke Matthews 21.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate all of your time today, man. Obviously, it's been a long time coming. We do our little talks here and there via Instagram, but I do appreciate it. And if there is anything you need from me, you let me know, and I'll always be there to help you out. All right.
Yeah. Likewise.
And that's it. I appreciate everything, and to the viewers out there, I'll make sure to include his socials in the description below. And we'll see you on the next episode of Mindset Driven. Take care.